Hi friends, I am Shashank and today I will do a composition of image. First image I see is of scenery, the second image we see is a tree, third image I see a river water flowing and then some trees surrounding. Fourth image, wow, this is a ghostly house with a ghostly tree also, and the next image is a kind of bridge. Next image is a kind of spring and some waterfall, and then we see again waterfall with a man, finally it is there, and then our Indian tiger. So let's start. I have 8 images and I have a challenge to do and create a composition of the image. So first I started selecting the house and the tree. This takes a bit time and I know it gets boring for some of us, but we need to have the patience to properly surround everything. After that I masked the house and the tree and checked on the edges. So if you see, I am checking on the edges and then removed some of the portions that was not needed. This was a bit tough because there were a lot of leaves covering the house and the tree. Now I tried to place the house and the tree in some of the region of that particular landscape that we already have in the first picture. So I thought it will be better to go with the next picture and check the bridge part and remove that bridge and place somewhere in the landscape. This was again a tough part because a lot of greenery is surrounding and this part itself is very tough to take out from the current picture. But I guess I did it well. Did it well or just did it. I didn't did it with that precision because it was going to be blurred in the end. I thought of placing at the depth of field in the backward, so I just copied this, masked it, placed it at the back of the house. Then I thought that the tree that was already there, the half cut tree that had, I will select this. I did a normal color range selection because it was very tough to select the leaves and everything from the tree. So I selected that. Some of the branches were very tough to select, like this one, so I left out. And then I masked it and removed the soil from there. Took this tree and placed it in the landscape. Also had some of the leaves coming up because a lot of leaves were left in the previous picture. I placed it, I thought okay, I can place it over this particular tree and try to manage to just join both the trees to make a proper tree. However, the strength of the roots doesn't suits the density of the tree, but for now we will go with this. And I now try to go with the color ranges and check the things, but then again I moved on, my mind moved on to select something different, and that was this waterfall. I masked it properly, allowed blend modes to work, and then brought that water and placed it here. I only used the water from that image and properly masked the things. Did some color correction on this and some of the modifications related on the leaves. I hope I did it well, and yeah, a lot of corrections was needed related to the masking. It was overlapping some other images, so I just masked it properly. And then I tried working on some of the finishing aspect of bringing the trees above and making this back. I tried to do some exposure selection to the tree, but a lot of problems were happening because the tree color was completely different, because it was in a very bright condition and I need to make it in a condition so that it suits the current light conditions, and to make this was a very tough job for me. But I tried multiple things, and then I tried to change the hue saturation, then apply some color presets. That worked a bit, but then again the branches and the trunk created problems. I again finally did it, and you can see things went a bit proper for that, but the amount of scarness on the tree was a bit more, and that created problems. So I just checked it again, tried to do a stamp tool on that, but again stamp tool created problems for some of the cases. But again, what I did was I brought the tree down, and I thought that this went well. I thought, now why not bring the tree to different parts, cut it, place it, and then set this a density. It worked pretty well, and this was really nice. Then remove some of the parts that was coming outside of the branches and the trunks, brought in wanted to see the tiger again, but again I wanted to correct the tree and then move on to anything else. I wanted to correct the hue saturation of the leaves that we see, because the down house has more greener leaves, so I wanted to make this more greener looking, taking conditions of the current weather or the season. So I made it a bit equal because it was a bit different than what we see. I tried to correct the waterfall, but then thought that okay, it is prettier and it is okay to be there. And then I thought of putting the stones somewhere near the river, and I zoomed in, panned in, and added the stones like a path. I also tried to do on the left side of the image. That created a kind of path for which I planned to bring the man in and have it. So next I moved on to tiger. This selection was pretty bad because of so many leaves and the tiger. I cannot even see the legs of the tiger. It was very tough for me to do. I wanted to place the tiger properly in front, but then again thought of, no, is it a problem? Because the green part of the tiger will be visible a lot, and that will create issues in the image. So next I tried to remove that green part and some of the extra part that got selected, but the selection itself went wrong, and that created some issue. So I moved the tiger back into the den. So I made that house as a den of the tiger, and that came pretty okay for me, and I was fine with that. Then I went to the man and selected the man properly. There was a camera and that could have created an issue, but I thought something for the future for that, and properly selected, cut out the areas that was not needed, even the hands. I thought of removing the hand from the picture also, but let's see what I do. I properly selected all the hands related to this man and hairs also. Created some points that were extra selected and removed those from the image. Because of this fast selection, a lot of things were there. Then I thought that okay, I will use the left hand, and that palm I placed there and did some color correction, and in the end masking to make it flexible for the editing purpose. I tried blend if, but didn't succeed with some of the things because the time was the issue. So I just moved on to make it look okay. I just used the normal masking tool and it went out well. Then I corrected the legs. A lot of grunge was there in the legs, so I just removed those portions from the legs and made it more sharpened finally I thought that this is perfect. I will take this and place it there. I placed it on the image and then I placed at a center point. This was the main focus area for my system, and then I thought of correcting the color because man was in different environment. Then I thought that lot of area is looking non-greener type, and then why not make it a bit of grassy. I started replicating the grasses in all the places, everywhere, near the stones, near the river stones, and then on the path also, so that the legs of the person gets properly covered and it looks more realistic. After that I started placing something, some zoom, some panned, and then cleared the path a bit so that it looks like that he is walking on grass. Then tried to correct some of the portions on the right near the waterfall. Then was the thing related to tree and the house. They were kind of different from what the environment was suiting, so I changed the color. I tried with curves, I tried with adjusting the greens. That also failed, but in the end I thought that lightness and other things will work, and finally it worked for a while. Then I started placing the grasses in front of house and in front of the man walking. And then I started seeing that whether things are proper or not. I placed everywhere, grasses everywhere. And then I replicated the tree again and wanted to cover up the backside bridge that we see. And that also got removed properly. And then finally I started adding some of the effects on the tiger so that it looks fine, perfect for me. And I was okay with the color correction of the tiger also. Then next I started working on some of the final touch on the image to give it a proper look. I wanted to give some other change to this particular waterfall, but didn't happen. Then I moved on to some of the colorlets to apply over that and check how it looks, but things were not proper as per the image. So I moved on to again other things. However, many things were looking good, many filters were fine, working fine, but I don't know, I was not much satisfied with the work at that particular portion of time. So I just moved on with a normal curves adjustment and then tried doing a curve adjustment on that particular. Then I thought that the color of the tree should be completely different and started adding something on the house so that it looks more greener. I added greenery over the house as if like some grass has grown or mosses have grown on the house. And then similarly I added something on the trees to make it more yellowish kind of. I did the similar for the left tree and added some more bit. And then was a portion for left for other greeneries to be changed. And then I started doing things on the main landscape, brought some sunlights over this particular grasses and the junks that were growing on the left and the right. Tried some bit but thought of removing from the right side. Everything looked okay. Then I changed the opacity of the fill that I have applied, the hue saturation there. And then the final touch to that particular image, I started giving it. I wanted to place the man in a different way but couldn't make it better, so I just kept it as the way it was and then tried some of the LUTs to change the style of it. Finally I thought things were perfect, so I saved the image and saw things looked amazing for me. I applied some of the field blur to it so that it looks like if it's taken from the camera, the object and the subject looks perfect there and the other fields look blur. So the other tops on the left, right and the top side looks a bit blur and the destination and the subject looks perfect for me. And I was like, okay, I will continue with this. This is perfect. So the final image is this. If you liked my video, please do subscribe and like it. Thank you very much.